Okay, guys, I found a bunch of pieces of paper hidden in this plastic drawer I have hidden in my closet. And in the bottom of one of the drawers, hidden in the back, I found these pieces of paper of a hypothetical DC universe I created with some of my friends back in high school. These have got to be about 10 years old at this point. Based off of looking at the writings and some of the movies we have listed here, it's gotta be just after Man of Steel, but before Batman vs. Superman. And I think the time period is there were a lot of rumors that Batman was going to be involved after Man of Steel. There was just no guarantee. It was all hearsay. We were thinking to ourselves, why don't we make a hypothetical DC universe the way Marvel's been doing it? Boy, let me just tell you, reading some of these movies is just... oh, it's far-fetched. Of course, we're in high school, we're younger, we just think things are cool. We're not thinking about sustainability or money or production or story. We're not thinking about that stuff. So this as a 16-year-old kid is gonna be like, this is awesome, but now that I'm 26, I realize, yeah, this ain't gonna work. So we split this into like 2 sagas. One saga alone is like 10 phases. So already right there, we're talking about like 20 years worth just to get to one big final threat. So yeah, there's a lot going on here. I would like to invite all of you to come along this DCU journey I made almost 10 years ago, if not a little bit more, just to take in how ridiculously long this is, and maybe we can all share a laugh together. Starting with phase 1, what's going to kick off the DCU? We had Superman, Man of Steel, so hey, I got one right, that's good. Next up, we had Batman. Instead of Batman vs. Superman, we would just do Batman solo movie. After that, we would do Wonder Woman, then World's Finest, and then the Trinity. So that alone is all just phase 1. That is a heavy hitter for phase 1. Although, I'm not even gonna lie to you here, I stand by this. I would rearrange this a little bit. I would actually do Superman, Batman, World's Finest, and the Trinity. I'm not even gonna lie, I stick by this. I would maybe remove Wonder Woman's solo movie for now, but I actually really like that as a beginning, and I think a DC universe could actually be built that way. I'm happy with phase 1. I'm liking it. Now for phase 2, there was 6 movies, and we had Aquaman, The Flash, Green Lantern, Batman 2, Superman 2, and then Justice League, Legion of Doom. I think maybe you would do without Batman and Superman sequels for now. You would just get the solo films in there of Aquaman, Green Lantern, and Flash, and then you could do a Justice League movie and Legion of Doom, a great beginning villain for the first Justice League film. Maybe we're better off than we think. Phase 3, and phase 3 is a big one. We have 7 movies in this. Starting off with Wonder Woman 2, Teen Titans Hive, Shazam, Batman 3, Trinity Part 2, Green Lantern 2, Justice League, Ring Wars. The problem is I think we're almost getting too many sequels too fast, and in Batman's case, a trequel. Also, too, I don't know how viable a Trinity Part 2 would be. I think you can make multiple Trinity parts if it were a comic book or an animated show or a movie, but Trinity sequels live action, at that point you gotta ask yourself, why aren't you just doing more Justice League films? Which we do in this phase, Justice League Ring Wars, which I don't know how from phase 1 to now phase 3 we would have been introducing a massive ring event. I don't know where the storyline is following here. I think we are literally just throwing movies just to be like, that's a name we gotta throw in. Oh, why don't we do a sequel of that one? Yeah, there's a lot going on here. Okay, now we move on to phase 4. And when I look at it here, we're 3 phases in, because I haven't given you phase 4 yet. And in 3 phases, we're 18 movies deep. Like, I mean, a saga would be ending right about now. This, I think, is way too many movies, and we haven't even hit the final event yet. I mean, we're technically not even halfway here. We got so many pages. But let's just go with the insanity. Let's go with the chaos, and let's see what 16-year-old me cooked up. Phase 4, Superman 3, Aquaman 2, Flash 2, Teen Titans, Supergirl. So based off of the title here, I assume Supergirl is making her way to Earth, and the Teen Titans need to basically teach her earthly ways. World's Finest, Doomsday. So it's just Batman and Superman versus Doomsday, which is kind of what we got in Batman vs. Superman. Finally, Batman 4, Under the Red Hood. I mean, if Batman had 4 films in a DCU, I wouldn't complain. Batman could have 6 films in a DCU for all I care. Just gotta make sure that it doesn't feel overly saturated, and it's gotta be good enough stories to sustain it. We are now just finishing phase 4. We're 24 films into this DCU, and we still haven't hit the main event. So let's keep going. Phase 5, and this phase has 5 films. Green Lantern and Green Arrow. So we do like a buddy cop movie, but with Lantern and Arrow, which is basically their answer to World's Finest with Batman and Superman. I actually don't hate that. That's kind of interesting. I think it would work better as a show, though. Then Shazam 2, Flash 3, Wonder Woman 3, and then Darkseid. I gave a spot for Darkseid because Darkseid would get his own movie. If the DCU actually did something like that, and well, they were going to do New Gods and Old Gods. They were going to do a movie about that. It could work. And then moving on into phase 6, you have another 5-part event: Justice League Apocalypse, Trinity Reunited, Godfall, World's Finest Brotherhood, and Justice League 4. A lot of these names are sounding cool, but once again, it just seems like it is way too much. Clearly, what this was all leading up to was a fight against Darkseid. But just to get to phase 6, where we do fight Darkseid, and clearly Superman goes evil in Godfall, and Batman and Superman and the rest of the Justice League reunite in Brotherhood, and then Justice League 4, they would have to fight Darkseid. I mean, this is 34 films in. 34 films to get to the final event. I mean, crazier things have happened, but yeah, I'm not sure if this would fly. Okay, so now we're heading into phase 7, but it's not the end of Saga 1. It's still continuing, and I underline this here for phase 7, 5 years later. So I guess it takes place 5 years after this war against Darkseid. So there's a bit of a time jump. And in phase 7, we have 6 films. Starting off with Nightwing, then a Green Arrow solo movie, Blue Beetle and Firestorm, so their own mini World's Finest situation, Supergirl, Heir to Krypton, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, Superman Returns. And actually, you know what? Very interesting. For some reason, Green Lantern Hal Jordan is really sticking out to me here. And a little bit of details are coming back to me right now. It's because in the war against Darkseid, I had Hal Jordan die. Jon Stewart is the main character, where he's fighting Parallax, and he ends up finding out that Hal Jordan's dead body has been raised from the dead, and he has now become Parallax. I don't know why that clued into my head, but I am clear as day that that is what we wanted. And now that I look at phase 8, that is indeed what we did want. In phase 8, we have 5 films. And it begins with Batman Returns, Trinity 4, Titans Reborn, a Suicide Squad movie, and Justice League 5 Parallax. So clearly in this 5-year hiatus after the Darkseid War, I have a Superman Returns and a Batman Returns movie. Clearly, they both went into hiding for a little while, and then they chose to come back. For Trinity movies, we gotta chill. I don't think we can have more than one Trinity movie if we were to ever make a Trinity movie for the DCU. That's just a little too much. Not that I'm advocating for more Suicide Squad films, but we got one Suicide Squad film 42 movies later. And then Phase 8 clearly ends with the Justice League fighting Parallax. There is a lot of heavy-hitting storylines here that would just not make this DCU viable, but I'm in for the chaos. Reminding you here, we're still in Saga 1, and now we move into Phase 9. We have 5 movies, as if we need any more. Blue Beetle and Firestorm 2. Guess they needed a sequel. Nightwing and Green Arrow. So now we have another buddy cop film, but with Nightwing instead of Green Lantern. Green Lantern, Hal's Return. I don't even know what number this is at this point. It could be Green Lantern 4 or 5. Wonder Woman 3. I thought we had a Wonder Woman 3 at this point. Maybe it's Wonder Woman 4. Anyways. And Trinity, Maxwell Lord. That's a nice little change up. We get our 90th Trinity film of this DCU instead of doing a Justice League movie. And then finally, Phase 10, the end of the first saga. We have 5 films again, and this starts with World's Finest, Lex Luthor. I can already see what's going on here. Justice League Society, Civil War, Luthor, literally a movie just about Lex Luthor, Justice League Part 1, and then Justice League Part 2. And that is technically probably Justice League 9 and 10. Let's be honest here, we have so many. I see what's going on here in Phase 10. Lex Luthor is trying to become president of the States, and we're getting that whole storyline in here. Why this is all one big saga connected to the Darkseid saga, I'm not sure. I'm sure my 16-year-old brain, and same with my friends, were capable of connecting all these wildly estranged dots. But when you look at this from a more mature perspective, this just ain't it. This ain't gonna work. Let me just quickly calculate how many movies we had in the first saga. Give me a second here. 55 movies. Imagine in a weird world where 16-year-old me actually became leader of the DC studios in Warner Brothers. 55 movies to get to the end of Saga 1. And I'm sure even some of those would be changed into TV shows nowadays. Regardless, 55 projects. The creative minds of a teenager is absolutely insane. And I can't believe that even though I was a teenager, I thought this would have been a good idea. But we're not done yet. We still got Saga 2. Saga 2 seems a little bit shorter. We only have 4 phases here, which is potentially how long you would want a saga to last. Now let's see what we got going on here. In Phase 1, we have 6 movies, and my God, it is 6 Justice League films. Justice League International, Justice League Russia, Justice League 3000, Justice League Earth 2, Flashpoint Paradox, okay, that's not a Justice League movie, but close enough, and Justice League Incarnate. You're not technically requiring all the same actors and actresses to come back for each one of these films. It looks like it would be different groups every single time, so scheduling might not be an issue in a way. Clearly, we are, I believe, going down a multiversal event here. Imagine being announced to us the next phase of the DCU and they were all Justice League movies. That would be wild. 16-year-old me and friends were clearly high on something. And I'm not even gonna lie to you, I might want a little bit of that, because this is crazy. Heading off into phase 2 of this wild saga. I can't believe it got any crazier than what we've already gone through. This one has 5 films in its phase: Justice League Dark, Batman Incorporated, All-Star Superman, Wonder Woman League of One, and Justice League Crisis on Two Earths. Yeah, very clearly what we're doing here is we're not just introducing a ton of different Earths in the DC universe, we're also just introducing a bunch of different other team-ups. This is just wildly convoluted, but I am loving it, so let's keep going. Phase 3, we have another 5 movies. We go into Dr. Fate, Raven, Titans, Power Girl, so not Supergirl this time, now it's Power Girl from Earth 2 or whatever, Birds of Prey, and Vandal Savage / Ra's al Ghul. They're getting their own movie, apparently. Phase 4, which is absolutely massive. Superman Brainiac, Batman Return of the Joker, so he clearly went somewhere, Wonder Woman Ares, Justice League Immortal, and Justice League The Return. That would evidently seem to be the end of Saga 2, and this incorporated 21 movies. So a little bit better than Saga 1's 55 projects. This, even though these list of movies don't even make sense, is doable because of how little the projects are compared to Saga 1. Now into Saga 3, and this is going to end very abruptly because we only have 2 phases, and phase 2 isn't even completed. But I don't really know what this saga is all supposed to be about, but in phase 1, we have The Dark Knight Returns Part 1, The Dark Knight Returns Part 2, Superman New Government, Wonder Woman Amazon, and then the Trinity Hikataya. Actually, I am very well aware of the Hikataya book with Wonder Woman. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing that properly. If none of you have ever read Wonder Woman the Hikataya, basically what it's about is Wonder Woman is bound to eternally take care of this young woman who is eventually killed by slavers. She, for some reason, not spoiling it for you, finds herself in battle with Batman, who Batman as well is searching for this woman and the people who murdered her. A lot of the book is about Wonder Woman's battle with Batman. So it seems like we were trying to take that storyline and make it into more of a Batman, Wonder Woman, and Superman storyline. Don't really know what this was doing for Saga 3. And then in phase 2, there's only 2 movies we have written here: Batman vs. Superman and World's Finest. 83 movies, 83 projects listed in these pieces of paper from nearly 10 years ago. And of course, in our young minds, we're probably thinking to ourselves, yeah, this could probably all get done within the span of 10 years. For sure. This was just some absolute craziness. And please, 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 please just know that if I was to ever have my chance at making a DC universe, this ain't it. I'm smarter than that now. I think I would know how to build a universe up. Please don't hold my 16-year-old standards to my 26-year-old self. But of course, what we're gonna do now is the usual. Let me know in the comments below what you thought of this absolute mess of movies and strings of characters all just falling into this boiling pot of a DC universe that really has no direction. If some semblance of you somehow liked this, well, you are definitely bigging up the ego of my 16-year-old self. But thank you for coming on that 10-year-old journey with me. That was a lot of fun going through it. I am actually really happy I found that so we could all have a laugh together. But that is all I got for you on this one, guys. So until next time, I will talk to you all very soon.